Yeah, good evening. Sorry, there was a bit of delay because Aseem Chhabra was the co-panelist. We thought let's give some grace time to him. Mr. Aseem Chhabra will be there for Pulp Fiction tomorrow, hopefully. I hope Tokyo Story you enjoyed. This movie is absolutely a third variety for the day. And as I said in Tokyo Story, I would like to, in very short, talk about the period, talk about the director, talk about the theme, and its craft. The movie was made much later in 70s, but the period it has covered was immediately post-war, or rather last leg of Second War and thereafter. The director, Fassbinder, was, along with Herzog, who was also who is still alive, in fact, was his contemporary, and these two people, Herzog and Fassbinder, were responsible for reviving German cinema post-Second War. Late 50s they got going. Early 50s, in fact, Germany was trying to really struggle with their identity, and they didn't know in any form of arts or how to express themselves. I mean, to come out of the shame, to come out of the Nazism was not easy for them. Fassbinder was a rebel, complete rebel, and the kind of movies he made, the kind of stories he picked up was very, very different in entire Europe. He was an admitted gay. He had all kind of ill vibes. He was a drug addict, but in 37 years of age, he made more than 30 plus movies, some TV documentaries, that is, say, 12, 13 years' time. And most of those movies were considered very highly rated. He had a very, what you call, love and hate relationship with Hollywood. On one side, he really despised the kind of budget the Hollywood directors had to make the movies. And obviously, he didn't like the content of most of the Hollywood movies. But at the same time, he had the dream to make one movie on the Hollywood scale. And this was the movie. In fact, this was the last big movie he made. It was made on a big budget. Generally, he dealt with the themes where characters are out of sex, ego, and money lust, get into sadism and self-destruction mode. His other theme was, aligned theme was, that he made movies about oppressor and oppressed. At times, love is the worst oppressor. And in this movie, these two themes go hand in hand. It's very difficult to judge that the characters, whatever they are doing, anyway they are wrong. But all these elements are there. In this movie, technically, I'm talking about the narrative is such that there is a symbolism. There is symbolism, that is what the critics thought, that is what a lot of people thought, that post-Second War, Germany wanted to revive itself at every cost, and they were, as a society, Fassbinder thought that German society and country and the government didn't do enough to firstly condemn Nazism. They were more busy reconstructing the country and taking help of America or anyone, agreeing to all kind of conditions, and everybody was there to make money at any cost and get back to the life they had before Second War. And symbolically in this movie, he has tried to see that Maria Braun, whatever she is doing on the screen, is very, very similar to what German society was indulging in. The camera work, the way he has followed his camera, is he believes in continuous shots. That is to say, but a bit differently than other directors. Bit means quite differently from other directors. He generally, in every shot, you'll notice that he puts the camera on the characters on a scene and then continuously follows the movement of those characters wherever they are moving. The camera follows them. But easier said than done. If you see a lot of shots for 7 minutes, 8 minutes shots, camera is just following the characters, and that requires huge planning of the set, huge planning of the movements of the characters, and making. Second thing is he believes in medium shots and uses close-ups, but very occasionally. Medium shots are his favorite shots. Another thing which you'll find in this movie is the sound effect. He uses sound very, very effectively. At times you'll find noises of the kids crying. And those kids are not visible from some background, it is coming. And symbolically, it is saying something to the state of Germany, to the state of the characters in the movie. At times, very randomly, he shows a football match score coming from background. There's no reference to it, there's no context to it, but that is how he made movies shocking, surprising people. He would just use radio news that Germany would not like to build defense again or army again. And then again, after some time, he will again relay the news that Germany has the right for self-defense. So all those things, those contradictions, he has produced in the movie in a very off-the-cuff manner, but very effectively. And he also talks about everyday fascism which exists in society. And at that time, in Germany, he found that still the fascism on a day-to-day life exists. All these things, he said. He was really a wonderful filmmaker. And you'll find his entire narrative style of making movie very, very different. Another thing I would like to add is cinematography, which Baluz was his cinematographer, who did more than 10, 12 movies. And in this movie, his work was acknowledged really by everybody around the world. Another thing, Hana, the heroine of the movie, she had a very, 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 very complex character to play. And she could have easily passed as a vamp, but she has emerged out as a very, very natural character, indomitable character, negotiating all kind of periods bravely. Is a very interesting character to watch. I hope you'll enjoy this movie. Mr. Aseem Chhabra is here. And I think I will just request him to say a few things. Please join about this movie. And let me, I think if you put a 2-line self-introduction, that will be better.
Oh,
I can
okay.
always say.
I'm sorry I'm late. I thought we were starting at 6:30 and I came from Noida. My name is Aseem Chhabra. I'm a film journalist. I also program an Indian film festival in New York. I haven't seen this film for a very long time. Has anybody seen it, by the way, here? You have. Okay. Anyone else seen any Fassbender films? Because I think more than anything else we need to understand is Fassbender was 37 years old when he died. I think he died in 1982. And he had already made about 40 plus films, which is really remarkable in terms of how prolific he was, including a 14-part serial he made in the early 80s called Berlin Alexanderplatz. So long before, now everybody watches serials on Amazon Prime and Netflix, etc. Long before that, he did this amazing massive long study of crime and passion in Berlin in the 1920s. Besides this, you should check out his other films also. A range of films, often dealing with, of course, Germany in the post-war situation, although I think he was born around the time of the end of the war, but obviously the impact of the war was there. But many films dealing with sexuality, gender and sexuality, and he used to act in a lot of films also. One of the most amazing, interesting things about this film is, and I don't know if you mentioned that, so Maria Braun, the character played by Hannah Shigula, who acted in many films of Fassbender, so she gets married, that happens very soon, to a soldier, and he leaves. And then she has a relationship with an American soldier who's African American. And I thought it was really remarkable in the late 70s for a German film to have a black American actor play a major role. I don't remember details in terms of the camera work and everything else, but it's a very, very powerful story about a woman and surviving through tough times, and she uses the men to basically survive herself. She's a very strong woman, actually. So anyway, you'll enjoy the film and watch more films by Fassbender, because he's one of the best that Europe produced. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.